Hi everybody, here is the training video. If you missed our training sessions on Wednesday, August 19th this year, this will have great information for you. Brenda Bernard and I put together a little training presentation. It took about 2 hours to complete, and this should go faster given that we're not full of a group of people right now. It's just you and me. We had everybody go around and say their name and a little bit about their experiences, so I'm sorry you missed out on that, but we can skip over that part. And I do wish to welcome you aboard to our team at Sioux Falls Lutheran. I like starting with the money. Show me the money. How do I get paid? Hopefully by now you've found the yellow timesheets. AOK workers, we keep it in a black binder in the AOK Commons closet. Everybody else, you can grab a yellow sheet each week and either carry it with you in your purse or backpack or wherever, or you can leave it in the classroom where you are working. And make sure to turn them in to my mailbox. On the provided days, I'll always send a reminder email and refer to your pay schedule, and you will see that we turn in every other week and we get paid every other week. So every 2 weeks you get another paycheck. It's kind of nice. As far as the chain of command, there are a lot of things that blur and are gray areas for both myself as the AOK director and for Brenda Bernard. She is our early childhood all the way through 8th grade principal. So what you know is that we hire together and we do a lot of the staffing things together. When somebody's ill, we try to find coverage together and try to lean on each other for helping to make sure everything gets covered. The things you come to me for are such things as scheduling for EAs and AOK workers, who's in what place at what time, hiring and licensing paperwork. I tend to be the lead on that, along with Debbie in the office. Signing timesheets, I try to take care of that and be an extra pair of eyes for Mirth Perry. If I'm ever out of town or if you think I'm not going to be fast enough to turn in a yellow sheet, you can always turn them in directly to Mirth Perry's. Handling student and family concerns during AOK time, so that would be on my watch. If there's a big concern, you just let me know and I'll have those conversations with those families. However, if it's a injury or things like that, definitely take care of it in the moment, fill out the injury report form, and take care of business on your end as much as possible. Report concerns to the state is something that I do, and I report infectious diseases to the department. Continuing on, things that are under Brenda's control would be the early childhood through 8th grade lead teacher hiring, curriculum alignment, day-to-day scheduling like lunch plans and co-curriculars, empowering teachers to lead in the classroom, and handling student and family concerns during the normal school day for those age of kids. When you are going to be absent and it's planned, you can arrange that ahead of time, and I can give you lists of names and phone numbers to plan your scheduled absence. But if it's unplanned, you will call Debbie Pankow's cell in the morning if it's before 6 a.m. or before school opens, and she can help find a sub. And then if it's after 7 a.m., I'm usually here and I can help find a sub as well. COVID discussion. Our viral load is so important. So if you have to think about who is on your contact list. If there is somebody that turns out to be positive or is even suspecting that they could be positive, you have to know if you've been within 6 feet of them for longer than 15 minutes. So 15 minutes is your window, whether you're masked or not. So it's really important to keep your distance from people and keep everybody at work off your contact list as much as possible. So when you're in common spaces, like walking through the entryways or sitting in the commons or something like that, make sure you're wearing your masks. But if you're in your classroom, especially on the preschool end, the children are not wearing masks, and they will learn better when they see your lips and the tongue and everything moving in your mouth to figure out more vocabulary. So with that being said, they learn a lot from your facial expressions and the movements of your mouth. So when you're near the children, you can take your mask off and definitely go be a teacher. And then when you are near adults, so if you and your your co-teacher are in your room, or if you're with another adult in the room, wear a mask around each other if you're within 6 feet. So maybe that means one of you is playing with these children over on the tile, the other of you is on the carpet. And if you're far enough away, you can keep your mask off during the school day. So just make plans that way. Cohort groups, I'm trying to do for AOK time. It's near impossible in the preschool to keep these kids separated. So preschool is just one big jumble of kids right now, and I don't know how to do that any differently than what we're doing. We're just trying our best to keep those kids safe. We definitely do not let the big kids come down the hallway. Adults can come pick up as long as they've got a mask down in the preschool wing. That's okay. When it comes to the K-12 universe, if they're sitting somewhere within 6 feet, you need to write down who they're sitting by during your shift. So if they're sitting in the commons waiting to go play outside, or they're having a snack and it's hitting that 15-minute mark, you better be writing down names so that we can report to the state who was sitting within 6 feet of whom. Communication. Make sure that you feel like you're a part of the conversation. Whenever you have a question about anything, just ask. Everybody in our staff is so friendly and helpful, and there's no such thing as a silly question. Make sure that you are upfront and honest with your answers when somebody comes with a question of you, and we will do likewise. We just want to make sure that we're having open communication and supporting each other in our jobs here at Sioux Falls Lutheran. The mistaken goal chart and behaviors is something that Brenda Bernard talked to us about, and it was really interesting how some behaviors, like we're talking mostly negative behaviors, are a symptom just of a skill that's not learned yet. So if you see a child that has a hard time controlling their emotions, well, they just haven't learned that skill of how not to yell or how not to hit things. So each time you come across a student that is struggling with some skill in their life, we have to take a step back and assess, how can I properly teach this person to either handle this emotion, or maybe it's a problem in the bathroom, like with potty training. Just how can I encourage them, not make them feel judged, and bring them around to success. So it's a different way of thinking about it, not seeing behaviors not as a negative, but as an opportunity to learn, right? So that's kind of some training that we had, and maybe I'll have to get Mrs. Bernard to educate us some more and make another training video just on behaviors and the mistaken goal chart. The approaches of learning, our philosophy at Sioux Falls Lutheran is to learn through play and risk-taking and problem-solving. When you see kids kind of playing with the same item and they want to each have a turn with it, that's problem-solving right there, right? So witness what's going on, step back and watch the interaction, and see if they can come to a problem-solving success of their own. And risk-taking, sometimes you need to use different muscles in the body when you're developing, especially in the preschool wing. Sometimes we do let them climb upwards on that slide in the hallway, and sometimes we do let them, use a toy in a way that's non-conventional, as long as they're not hurting themselves and not hurting others. Sometimes they can find creative ways to use an item. Play and imagination is a huge role in learning in all of our grades. And so make sure that we're encouraging using items in different ways, using our imagination. Resiliency is that aspect of when we don't get what we want right away, and finding ways to calm ourselves and become more resilient to what could be a traumatic issue. But when you work around in a way that you're using these different approaches to learning and problem solving, you'll find more resilient kids. Finally, the curiosity portion is just that we want to encourage curiosity. Instead of going, get down from that pile of blocks, well, I usually walk to the child and I say, do you feel safe up here? And I try to get the conversation going. One, it's going to improve their vocabulary. Two, it's going to encourage them to critically think about, oh, this is a wobbly tower. I probably shouldn't be on there. And then they can they can figure out how to resolve that, whether that's me helping them down or if they need to go backwards from where they came. Classroom management is a huge piece in education. I mean, you can't learn in a place where you do not feel safe. Safety is number one, and playing and learning through play is definitely number two, right? We encourage something called positive discipline, which is where you can redirect a child without using harsh criticisms and judgments. So positive discipline is using forward-thinking words. Instead of saying, stop running down the hall, walk please down the hall, we are using walking feet. It puts the idea in their head without judging them, and it can correct the behavior just by switching up your vocabulary of the words you're choosing to use. Using active terms such as hold the paper this way or bring these scissors in this way, as opposed to stop doing that or no, no, no. During your classroom management portions, it's a great time to sit back and watch and observe your students to see if they can work through conflicts. Sometimes you will see students going for the same toy or making a mess and, blaming, that you might see them blaming each other or not working properly through things. So watch and observe, see if they can solve their own problems. But then definitely do step in and be careful about how you choose to step in. So instead of accusatory, oh, look at this mess you made, maybe instead you could say, well, I see we've got the sensory bin items on the floor. What shall we do? What would work best? Should I get a broom for us to use? Or do we need something wet like a mop or a wet paper towel? And work through it together that way. When you're encountering students during your day, it's important to honor emotions and problem solve those together. When a lot of times what happens in conflict is one person is just overly mad or upset or frustrated, and the other person has no idea, especially our preschool age students. They might have no clue that their friend is even upset because they're so focused on the task at hand or the item they're holding. So take a step back to say, so-and-so, look at your friend, whatever their name is. I see they look really sad. Why do you think she's sad right now? And come at it from a place of emotions. And then usually it circles itself back pretty easily from, oh, I didn't know you were sad. I'm sorry. Let's not do that again. And it can resolve a bit better. Look out for physical harm and emotional harm. Safety is your largest role in the classroom, whether you're an EA or a teacher or an AOK worker. And it's important for them to take those risks we talked about and learning through play, but it's way more important to make sure everybody's safe. So if you see somebody walking into a dangerous situation, or maybe they are about to walk out the door and nobody's going to catch them. So just make sure that everybody's staying safe and in the contained space where you're supposed to be, and maintain a calm, safe environment. Risk is an important teacher for young students, but calculate the risks with safety in mind. So if they're climbing too high, or they're about to approach something that's hot or dangerous or slippery or something like that, use those forward-thinking words of, that might be too hot to hold right now. Let's not touch the hot glue gun. Maybe instead we should do this. Or do you feel safe handling a hot glue gun that's just been plugged in? What if it's too hot? Do you think you could burn? And get those inquisitory questions going. I'm going to skip through our role playing. Family style meals. This year, due to COVID, we're all eating in class with the students. This is a great time to strike up some rich conversation. You don't have to have anything pre-planned. You don't have to plan or do lesson planning for your meal time. But it's really fun to see the students interacting, eating. Oh, I see you've got that. That looks yummy. My mom made this the other night. And it's a time for fellowship, maybe sharing stories of what you do this weekend, or what are you looking forward to tomorrow. And we always pray beforehand, so we're instilling our Christian values and praising God who gave us all these wonderful things to eat. So the family style lunch procedures are definitely sanitize the tables before and after you partake in a meal. School provided lunches and milks get brought down to your door. Families can still provide a lunch that needs heating in the preschool, but we're encouraging cold lunches if at all possible, or if it's already hot, keeping it in a hot thermos that stays hot. Microwaves are on the counter in the preschool wing. Make sure you wear gloves and clean up your messes if you're microwaving stuff. And make sure to be in communication with your teachers about the lunch times. Procedures for the licensed staff, and this would be AOK workers and EAs. Some of this will not apply to my EAs as far as the licensure, but that is one small portion of this handbook. I would suggest everybody read through it because we will hold you all to our high standards here at Sioux Falls Lutheran of maintaining, following certain guidelines as we work together. So look through it, highlight where you find I will highlight for you the places to find important information. When you click into the link on this presentation, it has a hyperlink in there for the staff handbook, and the contents list is also hyperlinked. So if you clicked on one heading, it would take you to that heading in the book because it's like 10 pages long. This is what it looks like in the AOK snack closet. It goes through the kitchen, and we use the gray cart that is in there, and the cart has the preschool food distribution directions on it as well. So this is, if you're working AOK, this is where you would go for your afternoon snack materials if you were the snack person. This is the closet off the commons. We've got pre-sorted bins. So these are the exact same kinds of materials. We've got paper and coloring books on bottom, painting supplies and glue and things like that over in the middle, and then color pencils, markers, crayons on the top. So these are great go-to bins on a rainy day, or if kids just want to do a quiet creative activity, they can make their own projects with these materials. And that way you can spread these out down the hall or down the commons if you want to make cohort groups and avoid the COVID contact for those 15 minutes, right? Here are the walkie-talkies. You have an assigned number when you get it so that you always have the same number. That way if there's any issues or if somebody forgets to put it on, I can go back and say, oh, it must have been so-and-so, and we'll remedy that. This is continuation of the AOK closet stuff. All the top layer is for PTF. The rest is AOK. We've got games on this shelf and puzzles on the right. We've got crafting supplies on this second shelf, and then Legos and magnet blocks and things that can be put together, toys over here. And then we've got more crafting bins, and we usually use more of these crafts during the summer session. Another picture of the AOK closet, PTF here, games here, and then crafty supplies and things for the summertime. The laundry baskets we use every day in order. Oh, and here we've got the preschool closet. So I've got the sleeping mats for summertime t-shirts for swimming, and then when we have outings, and then outdoor games in here. The Lego blocks and Barbies to play with in the hallway are there. And then there's games and puzzles in this corner. There's another cart of paper and coloring supplies and different utensils to play with the kids. And this is the part in the presentation where I took a pause to show everybody where all that stuff was. Since you're with me virtually, we will skip that and go back to the licensed staff handbook. I do want to show you that. Let's see here. Here we go. There it is. So as I stated before, in the contents section, you can click on any heading and it will route you directly to that. So let's say we were looking at the childcare activities and programming. This year with AOK, I hope to do some program days. I haven't gotten there yet because I'm still learning how to do my job and still training my staff. But I hope within the next week or two to get those up and running. And they'll just be short, maybe 30-minute, possibly 45-minute sessions on any given day of these topics. Make sure, let's talk a bit about the dress code. So when it comes to your dress code, AOK workers, as long as you're in comfortable clothing for play with the students, we're gonna be okay. Make sure you are covered modestly. When I say the B's, I'm talking about your breasts and your belly and your butt. Make sure that everything is covered there. If you're wearing contoured leggings, make sure the top covers your fanny. And this is just good for you to do no matter what age you are. Working in AOK, it's always important to present yourself in a professional manner because we give tours all the time, especially before and after school, to work with busy schedules of our prospective families. So keep that in mind that you might be the only staffer that they see if they're coming in for these late night tours. Educational assistants, make sure you are wearing business casual clothing from Monday to Thursday, and jeans are okay on Fridays. And there again, make sure things are covered modestly and use your best judgment. You will be working with paints and getting messy with the kids, so whatever you use should probably be very washable. And sometimes we will have school spirit dress up days. Lutheran Schools Week is always a fun time. And have fun with that. Be a good model for the students and what it means to be part of the team. Finally, dressing for the weather. If it is 29 or below, degrees or below, you'll need all the kit and caboodle for snow stuff. If it is 30 to 40 degrees, jacket, hat, and gloves will suffice. And then 41 to 50 degrees, a light jacket. Above 50, no jacket required. So make sure you are modeling for the students. See, Mrs. LaFrance has these clothes on. We should too, and be a good model. The walkie-talkie system has been working really well for my after-school program. Whenever a parent needs to come pick up, they call the AOK cell phone, and I get on the walkie-talkie and say, we need so-and-so from this age group. And they report to whatever doors I tell them to go to, and they get to go home and I check them out. Checking in and out on Sycamore is really important that we have the proper times for checking in and checking out so that each family is getting charged appropriately, not too much, not too little. So these are the usernames and passwords, but most of the time it's pre-programmed onto the laptop for you to use when you get there. Make sure you charge. Like when you're done with check-in and you're done with checkout at the end of the night, make sure you hit charge, daily charged, select it all, and then charge. Staff attendance policies, just be at work. It really helps us. If you know you're going to be gone, tell us in advance and we'll try to find a sub. We talked about positive discipline. We talked about, here we go, staff guidelines and protocols. Medications. Never give out a medication unless you have the pre-filled out medication form from the family. So we're talking anything, ibuprofen or Benadryl or anything like that. We need to have the form filled out beforehand. Do not give a child any medications unless it's already pre-approved. And anything you do dispense out, you have to write down on the medication log of what you did and when. Laundry baskets. We have to keep all of the personal belongings for each child separate. This was even in place before COVID, usually as a head lice precaution. So we spray down the baskets with Sanibed each morning and each night at closing. Make sure whatever supplies you use, you put back. Everything needs to be put back where it was to maintain maximum efficiency. Masks, when in doubt, wear a mask. Wear them within 6 feet of people. Teachers or adults or students, everybody, just wear your mask. You can take off your mask when you're at a safe distance, more than 6 feet from somebody, to take a little breather, or if you're outside and you're far enough away, because the air is more circulated outside. It's got more space for your breath to go. Use your best judgment. Think to yourself, what would a germaphobe do? And then do that. Make sure you're washing your hands all the time. Charging the phone and walkies, put them on the chargers at the end of the night. Wash your hands before and after handling food, diapering, handling soiled clothing, using the restroom, sneezing, handling animals, playing in water, and playing outside. So just wash your hands all the time. Whatever you're doing a different activity, well, let's take a break, boys and girls, and let's go wash our hands. We have specific sanitizing guidelines as well. So if you're in a diaper changing area, it is 1 ounce to 1 quart of water. If it's for dining tables and toys, it's 1 ounce to 2 gallons of water. We use the Sanibed as it follows the 1 ounce to 2 gallons guideline. If we were to run out of Sanibet, here is the chart that tells you the amount of bleach and water that we need to mix fresh each day, should we run out of Sanibet. Emergency preparedness. You should know what to do in every situation. For a tornado, we have 4 tornado rooms in the building. You walk to whichever is closest. The kindergarten room is one, Fantastic Fives room is another, and then the locker rooms are tornado safe. With a fire, you follow the exit plans per the school maps that are located in each wing, and you lead the students out the nearest safe exit to the outdoor playground area. Take with you the binder. There's an emergency binder in both the preschool area and the AOK Commons area. So take the white emergency binder with you, as it has every student's emergency data, emergency contact information. Active shooter drill. Either follow the safest strategy or barricade yourself into a room, turn off the lights, and stay low and silent. Your course, and then your actions will depend on where the shots are coming from. Turn the walkie sound as low as possible if you are barricading in the office. Otherwise, take the students to a safe location, and then our secondary safe location site is the Life 96.5 radio station across the street on Tallgrass and 69th. Mandatory reporting of abuse and neglect. Make sure you go through the training. You're going to have to get all of these training modules done within 90 days of hiring. So this would mean your mandatory reporting needs to be done and your DSS classes. So I have linked in here all the items you would need and the daily schedule. So thank you for your time and training for your awesome job at Sioux Falls Lutheran. If you should have any questions on anything that I presented to you today, give me a call or an email or a text. Thanks.